Hello and welcome back to Automotive Tales. As you can see, I am back in HQ 2.0. So not an awful lot has changed since last time I did a video in here. I am still working on the wiring, but I have now got a date for the builder. So we've got somebody coming in mid-December to lay a new concrete floor, because between all my detritus, you can see this floor isn't particularly even. So it's got lots of little sort of like pot marks in it here, which I guess was to give grip to the animals, and you can just about make out it's got quite a sort of drop. It's a couple of bricks worth across the end of the workshop. So we're going to take all of this up, lay it nice and flat with some rebar, some C30 concrete, so that it's flat, smooth and ready for the lifts. Although you can see now my handiwork slowly coming together. So as we described before, we're also going to get rid of these up and over doors and try and get a bit more height, because we can actually go right up to this lovely big beam here and expose a little bit more of this, which will be quite nice. And then we're going to make these pillars a bit narrower, and we're going to put some nice bullnose bricks on the outside to make it nice and smooth. And then these are going to be nice hardwood doors, but it's going to cost a lot of money. So what we're probably going to have to do is lay the flooring, open up these entrance ways, put the bullnose bricks in, and the doors might have to be a sort of January, February job, because there's £5,000 worth of doors to fit, which is terrifying. So in the meantime, I'm just going to keep playing with my spider's web of wiring, try and get all of that done before the builder starts on the floor. Meanwhile, I did promise in a previous video I'd show you a little bit more about HQ 2.0. One of the first things I was going to show you, can you see a doorway up there? We have no idea what's in there. Nobody's been in there for 40 years. There used to be an external staircase. It's gone. There's no other way of getting into that bit of the building. So there's a whole story to that barn that no one's been in for years. I'm hoping maybe a Monet, Picasso, who knows? We'll see. There is also another section. So you'll recognise this in the previous videos. This is all the electrics that we've got to replace, working back from the garages to this building. But I didn't show you where we stood. So this is an old threshing barn. So you can see I've got a little bit of height to play with and a very noisy light that needs replacing, but also the pièce de résistance. Check out the hayloft. Now, what do you think? This is an office, replacing all this boarding here with a glass wall. Have my sort of Automotive Tales studio man cave office up there. Then from up here, you get this lovely view of the threshing barn. And maybe we can put a couple of cars on display down here. Maybe open this up and let through the sunlight that's desperate to come through. Put some glass doors in behind these big threshing barn doors. Because we've got an orchard behind there, so we've got some nice green space. And yeah, have a couple of the Automotive Tales fleet on display, and I'll be able to see them from up here on the hayloft. How cool is that? Okay, it is freezing cold, but we are still making some progress. So this here is going to be my 16 amp feed for the scissor lift from the old workshop. And you can see the new fuse board is slowly going in. And despite what you think, that is perfectly level. All the marks on the wall are lined up to the floor, which is not level. And also it sort of bows in a little bit there, but that is all nice and level. And then up here, you can slowly see the ring main is working its way around the building. So we're very nearly at the last bit, which is then to feed it into the fuse box over here. It is slow going, really slow going. So I think the next job is to go and do some playing with cars. What do you think? And by playing with cars, I mean, well, the first job I've got to do is clean the Land Rover. So after it spent a week on the field for the bonfire, it is caked in mud. I mean, like, it's actually on the windscreen and on the roof. It's everywhere. And it's due an MOT. The MOT guys don't like it when you turn up with a muddy car and you drop mud all over them and their equipment. So job number one is to get it clean. Then I think it needs a new swivel joint up front because it's still leaking fluid. And as I don't have a workshop currently, I'm going to have to pay somebody to do it, which is slightly frustrating. So I'm going to take it to the place that did a load of work on it before. They put a new outrigger on. They put the SU carbs back on the engine because it had got a faulty EFI system on it, which is what it should have, the SUs, not the EFI. The EFI came from a later Range Rover and just never quite worked properly. So I'm going to trust it with them, and they're right next to an MOT station, so new swivel joints on. I might get them to do a gearbox service because I think we pushed it pretty hard on the field and it was sounding a little unhappy. And because it's got the Range Rover automatic transmission, it also has the Range Rover gear driven, I guess like the centre diff, I think comes off the main shaft in the gearbox. And that was sounding a little bit rattly, so it probably needs a top up of oil and a good service. So first things first, time to clean it in the only way you clean a Land Rover. So hopefully you can hear me over the wind, but I had to stop the recording just to show you the size of the pile of mud that has just come out of this. This before I hit the arch with the pressure washer. I mean, give you some scale, like, that's ridiculous. Shows that you really can't just take these things in the mud and not clean them afterwards. So basically everything behind here was one solid block of mud. Man, this is taking some cleaning. No wonder the MOT testers don't like it when they're covered in mud, if this sort of level of mud starts falling out on them. And that's before I can't even get underneath properly. Eek. So the Land Rover is about clean. Unlike me, it appears that most of it's now on my face. But I thought I'd jump inside out of the wind to show you one of the things I found while I was pressure washing. You probably didn't notice it on the time lapse, but while I was cleaning inside the wheel arch, I found this hanging on the brake bleed nipple. That's a phrase and a half. So a 7/16 spanner clearly is what the bleed nipples use. And yeah, it's obviously been on there since, well, last year, I presume, when it went for its MOT. And then they went and did and sorted all the brakes and stuff. So, yeah, got myself a free, well, slightly broken spanner. Right, I now need to move the Land Rover, and now I need to clean the driveway. I reckon, no word of a lie, I reckon I've taken 50 kilos of mud out of this, because I've scraped most of it off the driveway already, and it was many, many shovels full of very heavy mud. So a lesson learnt that probably most Land Rover owners already know is don't leave mud on your Land Rover longer than is strictly necessary. I found so many pockets where it was just solid clumps of mud wrapped around the fuel filler hose, for example. Just loads of it coming out in like brick-sized chunks. The sump protector at the front was just full, absolutely full of mud. To the point where the pressure washer wouldn't shift it. I had to get my hand in underneath and scrape it all out and then clean the rest off with the pressure washer. There's still quite a bit on the back of the wheels around the hubs, which I've tried my best to get out. So hopefully the garage that's going to be doing my new swivel joints won't mind too much. I mean, most of it's on the swivel joint, so they're going to come off and go in the bin, I suspect. And we're going to have some new ones hopefully fitted. So I need to move this car again and also call the garage about said swivel joints. Right, for you lot, back to the garage for doing some more wiring. So, quick progress update on the electrics. Apart from the fact it's blowing a hoolie outside, you can see we've got all the socket boxes on and all of the ring fed through, and we're starting to run the 16 amp. So I'm just waiting on some connectors for here, and then that's going to run above there all the way down into our new fuse box. And for the dullards among us, you will see I've been dressing all of the screws as well, just because, you know, these little things make the difference. It's very satisfying. But now I need to go shopping because I've literally used an entire box of screws putting all these little brackets and sockets and everything on the wall. It's an endless job. So we are back in the garage. You can see the progress here on all the sockets and some more wiring here. This is for the 16 amp feed for the lifts. What I haven't shown you is this little space next door with these lovely little barn doors. So this is actually going to be my workshop. So you can see we've got loads and loads of space here, but we have no lighting, we have no sockets. So the next job is to basically do what we've just been doing in this small space. You can see somebody's already kindly knocked a little hole in the wall. I'm probably going to board that big one up. So I'm going to run cables back through there, and then I can run myself a ring main all the way around here for the workbench. And I can run myself some lighting up there with a switch in the corner there on those lovely, look at those lovely nice rounded edge bricks. And another one here, so I can turn the lights off in the workshop and turn the lights on in the garages. So, another cold night on the electrics and another large box delivery from Superlec Direct. Right, here we go. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching.